I don't know if there's anything super special we can do with quadruple amulet, but I'm just going to do the thing that I know how to do, which is just put a whole lot of Primeval Titans in play and kill them with Primeval Titans. Hello and welcome back, guys. We are here for a fresh new league, and this time we're playing something just because I feel like playing it, and that is Reclaimer Amulet. And once again, this is going to be my own personal take on Reclaimer. I know that players such as F-Paulus and Apriolo1 like to play Elvish Reclaimer lists with a White Splash and Temple Gardens and the card Flagstones of Trocaire as something you can search up with Reclaimer and then sacrifice the turn after to get some ramp on. However, I have for a long time felt like Reclaimer is viable without the use of that combo and is just a usable utility card otherwise. And in this list, we're basically just going to be marginally upgrading lands. For example, turning green sources into breeding pools for transmuting Tularia West, searching for Castle Garenbrig to get our ramp, since searching, just changing like a forest into a Castle Garenbrig or a useless cavern in certain matchups to a Castle Garenbrig will speed up our Titan. And of course, there's a couple of patterns that lead to turn 3 or turn 4 Titans with Reclaimer searching up sagas and along those lines. Of course, we can always sacrifice saga with a third chapter ability on the stack, or bounce it with a bounce land at instant speed that we search for with Reclaimer. And of course, we have main board Bojuka Bog to search for against the DRC decks, Murktide against Living End. So hopefully Reclaimer will help us in those matchups. But to be honest, the main reason I'm playing this today is because I feel like it and nobody can stop me. So we're going to be jamming some Reclaimer. And I don't really have much else to say. A lot of the cards are pretty usual, so if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and let's jump into match 1 here. By the way, I should mention, we're also playing a whopping 4 copies of Cavernous Lilies, and that's because I am tired of losing to Control and Murktide, and that's the only reason. Alrighty, let's hop in here for match 1. Be on the play against Tuganaxos. We have Saga Amulet, turn 2 Forest, turn 3 Titan off with double Amulet, which seems fantastic to me. We even have a redundant Summoner's Pact, so if they were to Thoughtseize us and take Amulet, then we can potentially draw or pack for a Azusa to potentially get to Titan, and if they had discard spell for a Summoner's Pact, well, now we have a backup Titan, so this hand is quite good, I would say. We are going to lead on Amulet here. Valakut Pass. Could this be an Amulet Mirror? Third Summoner's Pact is, that's a little much of those, but, you know, we'll probably just kill our opponent on turn 3 anyways, so see if our opponent is on Amulet as well. It could also just be like a Bring to Light type Scapeshift deck or something that would naturally play Valakut, but I feel like the most likely is that our opponent is playing Amulet, but I could be wrong on that. You never know. We are obviously going to Titan our opponent here. They don't even have double blue for a potential counterspell, so there's really nothing to play around. Just have to, you know, do the thing. And we can even double Titan and haste both of them and kill our opponent with 2 double striking Titans, which I am a fan of, so we'll do that. This technically plays around something like Solitude, in case they have an answer to one of the Titans, although I don't know for sure that we can pay for double Summoner's Pact if we do that. Definitely play Titan number 1. I guess they could have Dress Down. That would be pretty embarrassing. Then we just lose to Summoner's Pact. Remand. Okay, well, I guess we lose. I was not expecting that. I guess we know that they're on Scapeshift then. And of course, we just have to scoop there because we're losing to our Summoner's Pact trigger. I did not expect that. Alright, well, Cavernous Souls seems pretty good. Endurance is alright to like clock Renin 6s and mess with their graveyard if they want to have fetch lands to take back up. To pick back up with a Renin 6 uptick. Cultivator is interesting. It's usually good against Control. I don't know how good it is against Scapeshift because it's not like the most like... It's not like a killing machine, you know what I mean? But... And Reclaimer is probably good here, helping us set up Cavern. So we can trim the Garenbrigs. Boseiju kills Dryad. I don't know how much that matters. So does Force of Vigor, for that matter. I feel like we don't really want to be on that plan, though. Bojuka Bog is likely irrelevant, because we're never going to search it with Titan. Although I guess we could bog them with Reclaimer. I don't know if that makes me still interested to have it or not, but we'll keep one Boseiju in case we need to kill, like, a Chalice of the Void or something. I don't think we want to trim Saga. They could have Alpine Moon, but that's about it. I'm not really concerned about that. We'll trim a Summoner's Pact since we have actual threats and Reclaimers as well. Can trim on Grazers because we don't need to be that fast. We'll keep one for pact purposes. And yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with that. I was not expecting to lose to Remand, that's for sure. We'll be on the play. And this hand's pretty good, so we'll keep it. I don't know whether we're leading on Reclaimer or Azusa. Reclaimer or Azusa. Reclaimer or Amulet. I was thinking that if we play turn on Amulet, we can play turn to Azusa. And then Reclaimer and Endurance, assuming that Azusa sticks. I feel like it probably has to be Amulet. And we'll name Human here so we can get our Azusa in. Although it probably doesn't really matter. Maybe naming Giant would have been better so we don't have to pick up the Cavernous Souls, but it's whatever. Let's see what our opponent has. Breeding Pool. Spin, search for morale. So this is definitely like a Scape Shift deck of some sort. Dryad's an interesting draw as well. Probably good. Yeah, we don't really need the uncounterable mana here, so we'll just not mess around with that. Are we playing everything out? I don't know if we can play literally everything out. We'll play Dryad into land. I guess we can't play the Endurance, but that's probably fine. If we're playing the Reclaimer, that is. But I think we want to play the Reclaimer. We'll hold the Endurance. That's a pretty good turn, too, don't you think? And this time we have Remand covered, so spin another search. Play a tapped Steaments. Yep, alright, so now we just win here. We get to play Bounce Land 2 times, float colorless, pick up Cavern, play Cavern on Giant. And maybe we even play Bounce Land 3 times, so we can get Valakut and Slayers to haste here. Well, I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll do it live. We definitely... I guess we don't need to uncounterable our Titan here, do we? Still want to pick up the Cavern, though, I think. They could have... I don't know, like Subtlety or something. Even that doesn't really matter here, so... We'll leave a red floating, and then we can still haste off of Valakut Slayers. This is just kind of an insane hand, to be honest. And this needs to be white, thanks to the Dryad ability. We'll haste our guy. And I guess we want to play out the Cavern now so we can get Valakut Vesuva and get immediate triggers. So we'll play Cavern naming Beast. Oh, our opponent concedes. Alright. Cool. That was the inverse of what happened in game 1. And I think I'm just going to run it back. I still don't know how useful Bajuka Bog is, but we'll see. We showed them the Reclaimer tech. Oh no. This hand is not super fantastic either. We really do want a 1-drop in this matchup, I think. And Endurance is not that fantastic. This has no ramp, so I'm going to mulligan it. Well, we have a 1-drop. And we get to play a turn 2 Dryad. These Caverns, one of them is going to be naming Beast, but should be fine if we want to go for Colossus, but we're kind of a ways away from that. Got a bottom one if we keep this, so I guess we've just bottom Summoner's Pact, since they can counter that one anyways. Keep all of our lands. It's kind of awkward, but I think we're supposed to keep. Yeah, we'll Grazer in Valakut, and then on turn 2, we'll play Cavern on Nymph, so we can get our Dryad down through counter magic. Titan's a good top deck. We kind of just are missing a bounce land at this point. Named Beast. Alright. See if our opponent has Rin, or they're holding up Remand or something, or what. Beseiju, I mean, it's a land, so I'll take it. We'll play Cavern naming Nymph. This is the benefit of playing 4 Cavernous Souls, huh? Bang. Previously only a Nymph, now a Nymph Dryad. If you look on the cards, they don't say Dryad on them, but it is errated onto the cards. You can Cavern naming Dryad as well, it's just as fine. Play Slayers here and pass. Just in case we want to Beseiju something. I don't really foresee that happening, but now if we draw any untapped source, we have Titan. Depending on whether our opponent holds up Counterspell or not, though, of course. If they hold up Counterspell, we'll wait until we can reset one of these Caverns, because there's really no reason to lose to a counter magic here. Bounce land. Amulet. Interesting. Well, I guess we'll just haste our Grazer and play Amulet, and I don't know if we play the Besage or not. I guess we probably do. Although we might want to hit their Dryad if they have a Dryad, which I think is unlikely. They probably don't play very many, but we'll play Amulet here. I should have used the one on Nymph instead of the one on Beast, because they don't know if we have Bounce Land Colossus as our last card, but this informs them that we're not going to be casting an uncounterable Colossus, so that was kind of bad, but it's like, whatever. I wonder if they just counter it. No? Alright. And I'm going to go ahead and haste the Grazer here. Oh, wait. That's the wrong land. I'm going to haste the Grazer here because I don't want them to remove our Dryad, and this will get the extra 2 points of damage in either way. Yeah, I guess we'll just... I mean, if we play the Besage, that allows us to draw a bounce lane and be able to cast an uncounterable Titan, which is probably worth it, so I'm just going to play the Besage here. Again, like I said, I don't find it likely they have Dryad or Chalice or anything like that. Discover the Impossible. 3 mana instant. Look at the top 5 cards. Exile one of them face down, the rest on the bottom. You can cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost if it costs 2 or less. Otherwise, put the card in your hand. Interesting. It's interesting that it specifies that it exiles it face down, because if they put it in their hand, we won't know what card it is. Which is pretty cool design. There's their face down exiled card and goes straight to the hand. Interesting one. Alright, bounce land would be good. Like, hard cast Search for Tomorrow, play land. So we could just die to Scapeshift next turn. Summoner's Pact. That doesn't really do anything. Although we could pact for Reclaimer, play Reclaimer, float to get a bounce land, then we'd be 1 short of casting Titan. Yeah, Reclaimer, haste. Oh no, we couldn't. We don't have enough to haste and then activate it. No, what am I saying? That would require a lot of potential setup. So I guess we're just supposed to haste and wait. We could just be. Oh well, then we're not going to be dead to Scapeshift just yet because we're at 20. Our opponent needs a bolt here to put us dead to Scapeshift next turn when they hit their 7th land, so... I guess that's another benefit, is we've not taken any damage from our mana base. 2 mana. Ice to tap the Cavern on Nymph. Just trying to draw. Like, they could have, like, another Search for Tomorrow or Growth Spiral, and then we'll be dead to land drop, plus Scapeshift, which it looks like they might have, but... Search for Tomorrow, sure. 5. Let's see. Do they have the Scapeshift? That is the question. It has to be exactly Scapeshift here. It looks like they have it. Cool. Well, we'll let them show us the kill here, but we are dead. They get double Valcut and a bunch of mountains, and we did. Yeah, if we had drawn the land that we needed there, which is probably right on top of our deck, too. That's the funny thing. We probably have Simic Growth Chamber sitting on top. Yep, there we go. 4, 5, 6, 7 mountains, 2 Valcuts, 4 absolute lethal. Cool beans. That was actually a pretty fun match, I'm not going to lie. Well, we are now 0-1, which is not the best start, but I'm not fretting it. I suppose we could have thought about playing around something like Remand in game 1, but I really put our opponent on Amulet, even with the fetch land. Maybe the fetch land makes it more likely it's a Scapeshift deck, but I feel like it's only the specifically blue-red, or the specifically Teamer Scapeshift decks that play Remand. You usually don't see that card a lot anyways, so... I don't know. I guess it could have been like a 4-color deck, maybe. Even then, even they wouldn't play Remand usually, so... I feel like probably just going for it's fine. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments as we jump in here for match 2. You get turn 1 Saga, turn 2 Saga... Turn 3, we'll have access to 4 mana off an Amulet, but we go Azusa down to 1 land is only 5, so we can't quite Titan unless we draw an Explore or another ramp spell. Like a Grazer or a Summoner's Pact, but then we'd have to double Pact. This hand's not fantastic. I feel like we can do better. Yeah, this hand's definitely better. We have Reclaimer to set up our bounce land. We'll definitely keep this. Probably bottoming the Summoner's Pact, I think. We've got all of our hyper powerful 1-drops here. Our opponent plays Ragavan. We'll match them with turn 1 Grazer and make them bolt this. Although we really would like to hit any land off the top. That would be fantastic. I'm going to lead on Grazer here, though. Next turn, we'll play Amulet Reclaimer if we don't find the land. And if we do find the land, we'll probably still find Amulet Reclaimer to be the play that we make. I guess if we find a bounce land, we could play Amulet, Bounce Land, Dryad, Bounce Land, Reclaimer, Amulet. Oh, no, and then play Reclaimer. Because the Amulet obviously would already be in play. Ledger Shredder. Interesting. And Hallowed Fountain. So they're splashing white, huh? Any land here is still good, so I'm happy with that. I think we want to get the Reclaimer down so we can get a bounce land, potentially. So we'll play the land, play Amulet, so we don't get it Spell Pierced. Play Reclaimer. And we'll pass. Not really interested in trading this Reclaimer with Ragavan, I don't think. We'd rather take the 2 from the Shredder. They did discard the second Ragavan, which is interesting. It makes it very unlikely they have a third, but I think I'd rather just have this Reclaimer ready to go. Iteration, sure. Doing this on turn 3 so they can get the free land, of course, assuming they don't find a Mishra's Bauble. Steam Vents, exiled. Like I said. Channeler. Get to connive again. This thing is growing fast, huh? If we draw an Azusa or a Grazer, we can actually cast Titan here. We'll keep our Grazer in play. Right. Azusa or Grazer would be our best top decks, or Amulet would do it as well. T-West. Well, we can go get a bounce land, play Dryad, play bounce land, transmute for like a Summoner's Pact. And then next turn we'll have Titan if our Dryad doesn't die. And if our Dryad does die, then we'll have Summoner's Pact for Azusa or Grazer and still be able to cast Titan. So that's probably the play. We'll Reclaimer away this basic forest, of course. We'll get Simic. Basically acting like an expedition map here. We'll play our Dryad, I guess. Since they don't have mana up, we don't have to worry about them killing it. Yeah. Well, I guess we can leave the Growth Chamber in place, since we could potentially just Reclaimer for another bounce land. We play T-West Growth Chamber, float the mana, pick up the T-West Transmute for Pact, and the next turn we can pay 2, Reclaimer for bounce land, play it for turn, cast Titan. That way we don't have to draw. We wouldn't have to pact for Azusa or something like that, although it does require our Reclaimer to stay in play for us to be able to get to Titan, so we'd only have 2 lands since the T-West does go to the bin. I think it's probably better to leave the bounce land in hand here, because if our Reclaimer dies, which would be very easy, an Unholy Heat or a Lightning Bolt kills it, then we wouldn't have Titan unless we top deck, so probably not worth risking it. Although it is technically a little bit better, you know, mana development-wise, but not really about that. Like I said, we can just pact for Azusa or Grazer here and still be able to Titan next turn, so even if they kill our Dryad, that is, so not the biggest deal. Yeah, we'll get packed. And if at any point we decide we need to bog them, we can Reclaimer for bog, so, or just search for it with Titan, of course. We can also Reclaimer to set up a Cavern of Souls, if we need to. Right now they have creature sorcery, so all they would take is a Mishra's Bauble and an instant, like a Consider or something like that, and then they would have Delirium. Looks like they're just casting Unholy Heat to kill the Reclaimer, so it's good that we left our bounce land in hand here. May not be able to resolve a threat here, though. And now they have Delirium as well. Let's hope they don't have a second heat. Not going to block the Ragavan with Dryad if they attack, by the way, because we can't just lose this to Bolt. Although they might have bolted the Reclaimer a long time ago if they had it, but... They have a second heat? Ugh, that's tragic. And they never heated the Reclaimer, huh? Well, we can still Titan them here. Requires us to Summoner's Pact. So if it doesn't work, then we probably just lose on the spot, but... They loot away Stevens with Ledger Shredder. Interesting that they stacked the loot before the DRC. Yeah, so it's a Murktide splashing white for Teferi Time Raveler and possibly Prismatic Ending. Still not taking this block, I don't think. We can get much more than 3 damage out of this Grazer. Well, now that they have Counterspell, then we just lose, but... Cultivator. 4 or 5. Oh, that's not even enough to actually Titan them. That's unfortunate. Man, what are we going to do? Yeah, the double Unholy Heat was brutal there. Like, we could Pact for Dryad, play it, and play the land off the Growth Chamber, and pay for Pact, but then we have to top deck Bounce Land, so, like, I guess we're drawing towards Grazer or Azusa here, and they'll have Archmage's Charm up. Alternatively, we could Pact for Azusa right... No, we can't actually Pact right now. We have no choice but to pass, but this is not really a winning play. The reason we can't Pact now is because if we leave our Bounce Land in play, then we'll have no way to cast our big creatures anyways, so we just have to hope our opponent has nothing at this point. They finally bolt the Grazer. Which is probably fine, I guess. They mill over a Murktide Regent. I'm a little surprised about that, actually, but not terribly. I guess they're looking for extra counterspell or something. Consider. Taking 7, 8, 9. Not dead. They only have 1 card. Well, they're going to consider as well, so... Yeah, Archmage's Charm or Counterspell just kills us here, so... And that is assuming we even draw the Grazer or Azusa off the top, which is not super likely. This Colossus was a horrible draw. As I frequently find with Colossus, ever drawing the Colossus is usually pretty bad, unless you're playing it specifically a control deck. That's why I've not really loved Colossus in this deck. I think it's better to play Colossus in the sideboard. This list and most of my Amulet lists right now are only playing 1 Colossus, and we still managed to draw it, so... Oh, they have Bolt also. Well, at least we're just dead, so we can just go to the next game. Cool. So, blue-red Murktide splashing white. So against Murktide, we want Endurances. We want Dismembers for possible Magus. We want Boseijus for possible Blood Moon. The extra Cavern and Radiant Fountain can come in. Grazer is good. We don't want Cultivator Colossus because of Dress Down. We can trim an Azusa. We can trim Castle as we're going to be caverning through our Giants if we at all can. We can trim maybe a Reclaimer since they do just die to removal and we have plenty of 1-drops, but, you know. We can trim on Sagas significantly since they'll probably just die to our opponent's Moons, Alpine, or Magus or otherwise. Maybe Breeding Pool. I don't really see us going for a Breeding Pool here. And I guess Summoner's Pact, since they'll probably just counter the Pact, but they may not be able to counter the actual Titan, so. I'll be on the play, of course. We have Endurance, we have Amulet, and we have Cavern as well. I mean, this hand has everything we want. I guess we're playing Cavern naming Giant and playing Amulet. And then next turn we'll play Growth Chamber, Dryad, Valakut, Grazer, and hopefully have a 3rd land drop to put in. I think we want to go ahead and put this on Giant, though. If we were on the draw, we'd probably put it on Dryad or Nymph, but this is probably fine. DRC. Look at that endurance. I'm so proud. They're very close to Delirium already. They have 3 types. It's kind of crazy. We draw the land to put in with the Grazer, which is pretty good. We could also bounce land Dryad, bounce land Grazer, bounce land Endurance, just to make sure it resolves right now. I don't know how good that is, though. We wouldn't be able to cast... a Titan the turn after if we draw it, so probably not where we want to be. Opponent asks if I am new to Titan. Nope, definitely am not. I think we want to just Dryad, Grazer, and a land, and cast the Endurance at our own leisure. Maybe even force them to counter it, so that we can untap with a Titan, and if they don't counter it, then we get to ambush the Channeler, so probably worth it. And we'll keep the bounce land in hand here, obviously. Dryad. Oh. I meant to play one of these 2 lands. That was dumb. Well, I guess now we're just gonna slam the Endurance. That seems bad, though. Interesting. I don't know if it's worth slamming the Endurance. I guess we're just going to put in the Valakut and keep Boseiju in hand. That way, if we draw a basic force, we can maybe deal with the Blood Moon. That was bad. I meant to put in the Boseiju off the Valakut and the Grazer, but that's okay. Or vice versa. Either way works. I think holding the Endurance until it's more impactful is better, because right now, it's not really doing much. It's not stopping their Delirium. It's not forcing them to be in an awkward situation with counterspells. It's not really stopping them from playing a Murktide, since their graveyard was already pretty small anyways, so waiting a little bit, and now that they've tapped out, we can just cast Endurance, so... Or Titan if we draw it. Titan? Come on. Ugh, that's not Titan. Alright, well... Yeah, we'll play... Make 3... We could play double bounce land here and hold up Boseiju in case they have Blood Moon. I don't think they're going to have Blood Moon based on the fact that they have Hallowed Fountain, though, so I'm not worried about it. And we are going to hard cast Endurance here, so they can't counter it, I think. Next turn, they could play a fetch land and fetch and play a, albeit small, Murktide, which we're not super in love with. I don't think I want to let them get to potential Delirium if they find an Unholy Heat. So I think it's better to just go ahead and do this. And we are actually holding up Boseiju here, so this is fine. And we'll get rid of their graveyard there and pass it back to them. Yeah, Titan anytime would be fantastic. I just play land and pass. It's fine with me. Interesting. So I guess we're playing Boseiju, Growth Chamber, pick up the Boseiju. Do we swing with the Endurance? I feel like it's probably worth it. I guess all they would have to do is cast 2 spells, and then they can just block indefinitely with the Shredder. I am going to swing, though. I guess if we swing with both, they're going to block the Dryad anyways with the Shredder, so it's not, like, worth considering, so... We're going to start getting Valakut triggers pretty soon. We're 1 land short of being able to do so this turn, since we only get to put 2 and play with the Dryad, so... Petty Theft to bounce the Endurance. That's kind of surprising. I mean, I'm okay with that. Alright, we'll play Boseiju and Simic. And the reason we're putting our blue bounce land in play is because if our Dryad dies, we'll still be able to transmute. Are we just playing Endurance now? I think we should be. Because we don't want it to get countered. We'll just put it back into play. We have counterspell covered so far with our Cavern Giant, so no reason to lose our Endurance for no reason. Chalice on 0. Well, that is something that we can Boseiju. It will stop Summer's Pact from being a draw, but that was probably already not going to be a draw, considering our opponent has 3 cards in hand. So I'm not, like, actually super concerned about the Chalice. If we draw a Summoner's Pact, we can always play Sanctuary twice and Boseiju the Chalice, so there's really no reason to do anything about this. Another Cavern. Well, I guess we're getting Valka triggers now. We'll name, I guess, Elf, so we can put down a Reclaimer. And we'll go ahead and kill the Shredder if we can. Force our opponent to cast some spells now. They would have to cast 2 spells and then loot away a spell just to save the Shredder, so definitely the Shredder is the right choice here. Our opponent scoops it up. Okay. I'll take it. I will take that. We only have 3 Reclaimers in the deck as well. I feel like that's probably okay. Is it better to have Reclaimer than the one Azusa? I feel like it very well might be. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Reclaimer, since both just died removal, pretty much, so yeah, we'll submit. We even have 1 Saga we can Reclaimer for if we need to set up some additional threats, so we have Endurance again. We have Map for Cavern and Natural Bog to interact with their Delirium, so I'll keep it. It's a little slow, but nothing wrong with that. We could always top deck a Grazer or Reclaimer or Amulet and speed the sand up. That is not a fantastic start for us, though. We definitely didn't want to see turn 1 Ragavan. We need a 1-drop. I will take that 1-drop. It doesn't block, but it doesn't have to, so of course, now our Dryad or Endurance is just going to get countered. So I guess what our plan will be is to flash an Endurance during their turn and surprise block the Ragavan. Oh, wait, we can't do that. What am I talking about? No, I guess we're just going to play Simic and Endurance. Hit Forest. And we draw Forest. It's pretty interesting. Are we supposed to just slam Endurance or Dryad into Counterspell here? Or just play land map and kind of play it slow? Take 1 more hit from Ragavan? I feel like that's not the end of the world. It's obviously not ideal, but I think playing around Counterspell is a little bit better, so we'll play the Forest, I guess, and we'll play map, and if they want to counter this, they totally can. I mean, they do have reason to counter this, as it'll find a Cavern of Souls, but we have Reclaimers as a way to find Cavern, and we can also just naturally draw 1 of the 4, so we actually don't really care about this map that much. We just want our opponent to spend their mana, so if they counter this, I'm fine with it. They do Shock, so... and that's it. Okay. I wonder if they have March. That would be kind of strange. Archmage's Charm to steal Amulet. Okay, yeah. The Amulet's not really doing much here. Yeah, turn 1 Ragavan was not fantastic for this hand, but we still have ways to play around it. We'll play Stronghold and then flash an Endurance during their turn when they attack with it. And then if they counter that, we'll untap and play Dryad. Oh, they found a Reclaimer. No. I wonder if they play that one. They gotta play that one, right? Yeah. Sad. We kind of wanted that one, but, you know, is what it is. We weren't going to be playing it this turn anyways, so... Cavern of Souls. Well, do we just cavern down our Dryad, then? That really doesn't seem so bad. I think I'd rather do that. Make sure we're making some uncounterable mana here. We'll play Growth Chamber and reset the Cavern. Now, if we top deck Titan, we can play Slayer's Cavern on Giant and immediately cast Titan. We also have the option of putting Cavern on Elemental just to force our Endurance through, but it's probably not going to be priority since we can just bog our opponent to get rid of their Delirium and Reclaimer, Pseudo Delirium, the 2 lands in Grave. Are we making this block? And losing our Dryad to Bolt? I feel like I'm okay with it. I've had enough of giving our opponent free mana ramp and, you know, yeah, there's the Bolt. We expected this. This also incentivizes our opponent to trigger Channeler and makes our Bog a little bit better. So if they're waiting on a Murktide, then Bog will come in and ruin their day. So probably good. And we can still flash an Endurance. I guess we kind of want to just draw Titan now. Another Ragavan. Well, we'll flash an Endurance to take care of that one, so... Chalice. Yeah, I'm so glad that our opponent is out of cards now. That's actually fantastic for us. Now, the question is, are we going to cast the Endurance when we know that they don't have Counterspell and not take our Ambush, or are we going to risk that they top deck exactly Counterspell? That is an interesting question. Eventually, we can map for our 1 Saga, because it looks like our opponent can't really deal with it. I feel like I would rather risk our opponent draw a Counterspell, because we can always top deck a Titan and win afterwards anyways, so... And having map up means that they might be expecting us to just map for Cavern, so... Alright, let's see the Counterspell, opponent. Do you have it? Do you have the Counterspell? Oh, they did top deck Counterspell. Rough. Alright, well now we just want... Oh, Subtlety! Oh no! Oh goodness! I guess that one would have answered our Titan easily though, so now if we top deck Titan, then we're in very good shape. We'll... Oh, do we top or bottom the Endurance? If we bottom it and miss on Titan, then what happens? It's probably a land. Probably lose if we bottom it. I guess we top it. Top it, main phase it, pass. And then our opponent can't top like a Counterspell and blow us out. Oh, they just get to exile it with a Ragavan, so it's whatever. Alright, Titan off the top. Titan 1 time. Titan! Yes! Oh, that's perfect. And we don't have to use our Cavern here, so we won't. Bang. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Alright, what are we getting here? Don't really need Radiant Fountain, but we could get it. We have Expedition Map for T-West, but we don't have the extra blue source, so like getting T-West and the 1 Saga that we still have is kind of enticing to me. I think T-West... Oh, well, transmuting T-West doesn't really do anything since they have Chalice. Although we can map for Beseiju as well, so I think it's just T-West Saga. And we'll pass. Finally, we're able to actually top deck the Titan. That's wonderful. Oh, and now we can Vesuva our Saga before our Saga leaves. See if they... Ledger Shredder. Yeah. I mean, their flyers are kind of annoying, but... Hopefully we should be able to race that. Oh, are we playing Crumbling Vestige? If we were playing Vestige... it wouldn't do anything. So a Bolt would put us to 2 right now. We'd lose in 2 turns. See, we Beseiju the Chalice, play Bounce Land, Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So play Bounce Land, Transmute, Map. It's 5. That leaves us with 3. I think we're short here. 2 to map. 2 to Beseiju. 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, we wouldn't have enough to pack for anything. I guess we could pack for a Grazer, perhaps, but it's not really doing much. We attack, we could get, like, Radiant Fountain. Oh, we can get Bounce Land and Beseiju off the attack. Then Beseiju, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 4, 5, 6. We wouldn't be able to do anything with Dryad if we were to pact for it. Except block, I suppose. Interesting. So probably... We definitely want to try to set up Dryad in the future, so we want to get Beseiju for sure. Kill this Chalice. I guess we probably want to pact now so they can't counter it, and then we can use Cavern to get a Dryad into play. That way we can definitely kill their flyers. If we swing with Titan... I guess pact and play Dryad this turn so that they can't just swing back on us. We'd be taking 1, 2... We'd be taking 3, 4, 5, 6... down to 3. So if they top deck a Bolt, then we die in that scenario. Odd. We could accept to just losing to a top deck counterspell. I don't know, this is just rough. We could map for Beseiju and not be able to... We could transmute 4, but not be able to cast Dryad, but still pack this turn. The next turn we have Cavern through Dryad, attack for Valcuts, and we just don't attack with Titan this turn. Block here, take 3, 4, 5, 6. But we're still not beating Lightning Bolt off the top. I think if we attack... Okay, I guess we just lose to top deck counterspell. We attack, get Radiant Fountain Beseiju. No, or Radiant Fountain Valcut, perhaps? I think we're attacking here. Man, there's a lot of options here. Radiant Fountain is the easiest to stop us from just dying to Bolt. And we can make a token with Saga to block the Ragavan, so they're not going to get an extra card from this. We'll get... I guess getting Beseiju doesn't make a lot of sense. We have 2, 2, activate Saga. I guess we just get Valcut now, in case our Titan dies somehow. It's probably fine. They can't trade with our Titan here. Next turn we're getting an Amulet, so we can play Boros Garrison, attack, get Sunhome, and double strike, and that might be lethal depending on how our opponent attacks. So they may not be able to have enough answers to what we have here. Don't think we're transmuting, so we'll play... I guess we'll play Vesuva on the Saga. I don't know if that does anything for us. We'll Vesuva Valcut, actually. Let's see, if they bolt us, we're taking 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's no reason to copy Radiant Fountain, so we'll just copy the Valcut here. This lets us map for Beseiju, Beseiju the Chalice, make a blocker, or trade with a Ragavan, untap, and then kill them with Dryad. Or, if they have the answer for the Pact, then we kill them with Double Strike. So, see how they decide to attack here. Just the Flyers. Makes sense? No, they're swinging out. Alright, well, we are going to make our Saga token. I had to check the mana real quick to make sure that I wasn't punting. We need the green to Boseiju, but that's about it. Definitely trade with Ragavan. And we could just eat the Channeler, but we don't want to give them an extra card off the top with the Ragavan. It does put a creature in their graveyard, but I'm not really concerned about that. Just don't want to give our opponent more cards here. And we win the match. Whew. It was hard to figure out what to do in that last turn, but we are now 1-1. So I will see you guys for match 3 here. Alrighty, let's hop in here for match 3. On the play, love it. We have a turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 Dryad into Grazer, and a map to find T-West or perhaps Cavern of Souls, depending on the matchup, so we're absolutely keeping this. Do we turn 1 the Grazer or the Amulet? I think we definitely turn 1 the Amulet. I think it's more likely we're facing Counter Magic than turn 1 Prismatic Ending. And even if we get Prismatic Ending, we'd have Titan mana already, thanks to the map getting a bounce land or any other land, and we've got plenty of ramp, so we don't really mind getting Prismatic Ending on 1, but getting discarded and our Amulet being gone is pretty detrimental, and we can't avoid that, so... And we can even afford to leave bounce land in play here, which is fantastic, of course. Oh, you wanted to get through with Ragavan? Bad news about that one. Bad news about that one. And we even get to deploy our map here, so they can't counter it. Now we can map for Cavern, potentially, or depending on whether we top deck a threat or not. If they swing into our Dryad with Ragavan, I'm tempted to just block the Ragavan with the Dryad and lose the Dryad to a Bolt, perhaps. I guess if we top deck exactly any land that stays in play, that's slightly worse because we could potentially map for Valakut, but I don't know. Reclaimer would actually be really good on this board state too, assuming our opponent doesn't just kill it, since it can search for Bog or... Oh, alright. Top deck Titan now. Oh, we found the Valakut, which is awesome. Huh. Well, I guess we're playing... What are we transmuting for? Or not transmuting for. What are we mapping for? It's not obvious. Definitely play Valakut, since we don't have enough to transmute and cast Titan. We have 8, which is 1 short. Or would have had 8 without playing the Valakut. I guess next turn we can transmute and cast Titan, but it's not super likely that we're able to do that through, like, counter magic. So we'll haste and attack with the Dryad, and if they will just take the 4, presumably, so... Do we even map here? I guess we can map on their end step, depending on what they do. Next turn we'll only be getting 1 Valakut trigger, but that's probably okay. Unless we map for Valakut, I guess, or Vesuva. I think I'd rather just pass. We don't really know what we want to map for. It could be a Cavern, it could be a Valakut, it could be a T-West. We'll see what they do. Nothing, huh? If we map now, we would have enough mana to T-West and cast a Titan, but they don't currently have removal up for the Dryad either, so maybe just going for a second Valakut is fine here. Also makes further Dryads a fantastic top deck, but I guess if we're doing that, we don't have to map now, so we'll just wait. Reclaimer. Reclaimer is very good, actually. because we can haste our Reclaimer. See, we do this Reclaimer map for Valakut, play Valakut, haste Reclaimer. We can even do that in response to a removal spell. If we go Reclaimer, let's see, so I guess the right sequencing is map for Valakut, play it, play Reclaimer, play Simic. I think we are going for the Valakut here. Could be wrong, but I guess maybe Vesuva is better, so we can pick it up and copy something else later. We'll go ahead and play this now, so that we can haste Reclaimer in response to something if we play Growth Chamber and put some triggers on the stack. And if they want to counter this Reclaimer, then that means that we're going to be able to get 2 triggers from our Dryad, since they don't necessarily know that we have a land in hand, so they might counter this and then just lose to us playing Growth Chamber, killing both of their creatures. They fetch. It looks like they have Counterspell here, except they accidentally tapped for red. Yep, there's Counterspell. Well, here is a Simic Growth Chamber. I would like to shoot... I'm actually going to put both of them on the Shredder, because I just want to make sure it gets dead. They could cast, like, a Consider or something, and loot away a spell to keep their Shredder if we only point 1 Valakut trigger at it, so... They have Bolt on the Grazer, sure. That seems almost useless, but... I mean, we're definitely not blocking Ragavan with Dryad at this point. We are going to hasten attack with it, though. So now they have to deal with the Dryad, which they could very soon. Let's float a white. Haste our Dryad. Pick up the Simic. And pass. So if they have a Bauble, then they can Unholy Heat our Dryad. They'll have 2 cards left. Although they'll draw a card from the Bauble as well, but Iteration. It's a good start for us, because this makes it less likely they'll be able to answer a Titan if we top deck it. Of course, we might not top deck it, but... Another Dryad is a good top deck. Reclaimer is good top deck, since we can haste it. They do have the heat. And they are cold to our top deck here, depending on if they have a land to play or not. And even then, they would have to have second Counterspell when they've already played one, so it's not that super likely. Alright, so we want to top deck literally any threat. Oh, they exile the Dryad. That would have been a perfect draw. That's very lucky of them. Tap Siemens, okay. Titan. Any threat, but Titan in particular would be great. Castle Garenbrig is the opposite of a threat. But we will play it and pass. Yeah, well, now we might lose. I think going for the second Valakut was probably correct, though. We'll see. I guess now we're seeing why they bolted the Grazer, huh? They exile our Saga, which is sad, because that's one we could have played to make some blockers for this guy without exposing ourselves to a Counterspell. I guess we could still win if they put a Murktide into play this turn and left themselves with only Counterspell mana up, but didn't actually have the Counterspell, and we top deck threat. That's like the way that we win this game. Or if we draw Cavern into Titan. Which is possible. Extremely unlikely, I would say, but possible. Second iteration. That's another way we could win if they just keep casting iterations. Okay. Titan. Cavern. Well, we drew Cavern. Which we're not going to play now, because we might still draw Colossus. So or like a Reclaimer or a Dryad. So we save this for the threat that we're about to draw, hopefully. If we draw a Titan, we'll cavern it through, cast it, and probably get T-West and Bog. No, maybe not T-West, because that just plays into a counterspell, which they assuredly have bazillions of. They already hit our Saga, one of them. That's not a threat. But we can play it, so we'll play it. Yep. The life of an amulet player, huh? Let me know if you think that there's something I could have sequenced differently this game that might have helped. There goes an Archmage's Charm. That could have countered something. Oh, maybe we should have held the forest for top decking exactly Cultivator Colossus, but you know, whatever. DRC. They hit our amulet. Thank you for making us not draw this one. Very glad not to draw that one. They should cast it to get the DRC trigger, by the way, which they don't. And we drew the Titan. Okay. Sure. We'll name Giant here. See, that is 6, but we want to leave the blue floating, presumably. I don't know if T-West is the way to win here. We probably just need to get Bog and Saga. I don't know if that is enough, though. Yeah, I think I'm off T-West, because it's not gonna do anything. Are we even hasting our Titan here, though? I don't think that it matters, to be honest. I think we're supposed to Bog them to cut them off of Murktide and get their Delirium gone. I mean, do we even care about the DRC, though, at this point? Or, like, a Murktide? If we Bog them, they're just going to Unholy Heat our Titan in response. Maybe it's just better to get Double Saga here. That could be kind of crazy, but I think Double Saga is the best option, to be honest. Because our Titan is not going to survive. There's no way. They're going to Double Bolt it or Unholy Heat it or something. Even if we put a Bog on the stack right now, it wouldn't do literally anything, so. And getting T-West is pointless because they'll counter the Summoner's Pact, and we won't have an uncounterable threat. So just trying to stay in this game by doing literally anything that actually matters, and Saga kind of matters. Sets up a map for a Bog as well, so that'll interact with DRC eventually, but that's kind of slow. A Charm to draw some cards. Not super surprising or indicative of anything here, really. They bolt us. Okay. If they attack with Ragavan, I will block with a Titan. I don't know, maybe we had to Bog them. Because Murktide just kills us. Excuse me. They have one Murktide in the graveyard, though. They probably have one of the other... I think they play 3 total Murktides now, so one of the other 2. Shredder's fine. I'm sorry, I've had a bit of a runny nose all day, so I'm kind of stuffed up here. They Ottawara to bounce our Titan. That is ballsy. Now we're definitely getting Bog. That... I mean, they probably have Dress down, I guess. So we're not going to activate Sagas before we slam this Titan, that's for sure. Bolt. Uh-huh. Puts us down to 6. Attacks from the DRC and the Ragavan put us to 1. So I guess if they have another burn spell, we're dead. Like a 3rd Bolt. Which is not impossible. They've seen a lot of cards here, so... Although they have 2 other Bolts in the graveyard, so it would be pretty strange for them to have the 4th Bolt, but... I mean, I guess this forces us to go for the win right now, though. They hit our Reclaimer, too. Freaking Ragavan, man. I don't like it when they play my cards. That's not cool. Those are meant for me. Well, bogging them is not really a plan anymore. Radiant Fountain's in the sideboard. So I guess we're going to get T-West and Cavern on Dryad. And Summoner's Pact and just hope they don't have a counterspell in their last 3 cards. Looks like they have Murktide. Yeah, so I guess it's just Dryad or bust, huh? We'll say okay to these Saga triggers. Yeah, so we Titan, get T-West. I guess there's no reason to get Cavern since they would just counter the Summoner's Pact. So we get T-West and maybe Boros Garrison. So we could haste the Titan. Pick up Vesuva. We could double strike the Titan for 12. They block with the Murktide. We just die, so... Yeah, it's basically just... Well, I guess we don't necessarily just die. If we bog them, they only have Murktide. No, I mean... I guess we attack, we get Sunhome Bog, and play this copying... For turn, we play the Vesuva copying Garrison. That deals with the Murktide since they have to block. I guess they could block with these two. 8, 12 minus 8. No. No, that would work. No, if we get bogged, this would only be 2. That still works. Dang. Yeah, we just have to kill them with Dryad, so... I guess that's what we'll try to do. Start by caverning through our Titan, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have plenty of mana to be able to cast our Dryad here, so we'll say a yes to this. Get T-West and... I guess we want the blue mana here, so we don't have to play our land drop yet. So we'll get Simic. Doesn't really make a difference, but... Oh, wait! If they're relying on killing our Dryad, we can play Fetch Land and kill them by fetching for... Oh, wait, we're at exactly 1! No! No! Tragic. We'll transmute. Cast a Summoner's Pact that will get countered, and then we'll just lose. Show us the counterspell. I guess they could loot into a counterspell. Discard Ragavan, sure. Show us the counterspell. No? So you're saying there's a chance. What you're saying is that there's absolutely an actual chance. So I guess we'll do this. Play Dryad. Fetch land. It's so close, but we can't actually activate it. So we can't beat Unholy Heat or Counterspell here. They just have to have 2 actual blanks. Oh my gosh! They had 2 actual blanks? What the heck? That was so unlikely. Okay, well, in this matchup, we want the Endurances, obviously. The Grazer. All of the lands. Don't love Cultivator in this matchup because of Dress Down. Although, having big green things to cavern through is good, but I think we have Reclaimers as additional threats that might be fine. I don't think Dismember... I mean, they could have Magus, so Dismember is, like, kind of necessary. We'll trim an Azusa, trim the Garen Briggs, trim a Pact. Actually, I think Pact is not that bad now I've actually played it in practice. The Breeding Pool is probably unnecessary. Trim a couple Sagas. Maybe we just trim Azusa entirely. I'm not in love with it. Or the Colossus. Trim another Saga. I don't know. Saga's not that bad, but it's kind of slow, actually. Maybe it is just Summoner's Pact. Although, map is kind of slow, too. Trim map. I'd rather have the extra pact than a random map. We have 4 Cavernous Souls, so we'll find one somehow. That was extremely lucky for us to be able to win that game. What the heck? In no world should we ever have won that game. Or maybe they did have the heat, but they assumed that we could fetch because they didn't realize that we were at 1. Yeah, I mean, this hand seems good, so I'm going to keep it. We can play a turn 2 3-drop if we draw it. It's like an Endurance or a Dryad would be pretty good here. We have Grazer to stop our opponent's turn when Ragavan they're about to play. It is a Ragavan, which I'm not actually excited about. I'm just, usually when I say that, it's not Ragavan, it's DRC, and I'm like, well, they did that just to spite me. We'll play our Beast, put in Sanctuary, I guess. Pick up the Cavern. We're not representing Fire Spout. Third Titan is a draw. It does exist. It's in our hand. Now they have DRC. Do they have the Bolt? Bobble. I cannot tell whether I think that the presence of Ledger Shredder makes this matchup better for us or worse. I have a lot of difficulty trying to decipher that. That is a fantastic top deck. I will name Dryad here, I guess, because we're going to pick it up with the bounce land anyways. That is a fantastic top deck. Now if we top deck any untapped source, and our Dryad stays in play, of course, we'll have an uncounterable Titan next turn, so that was the best possible top deck, I dare say. Of course, they could just establish Delirium here and then kill the Dryad with an Unholy Heat. You know, that's a thing that could happen. And the iteration here, which is not surprising to me. I feel like we both did the things that we want to be doing, and somehow, even on the draw, we're ahead here, which is weird to me. Dismember. Well, that does not cast a Titan. I'm going to play the Cavern, though, so that we can play Titan next turn, even if our Dryad dies. Are we going to cast Dismember? Should we? Probably not. I'm not attacking into Bolt either, I don't think. Nah. Better to be able to threaten Valakut triggers with our Titan resolving, so they can't just, like, you know, deal with the Titan and be fine. Grazer. I mean, we will play that. They can counter it if they like. No. Still not attacking for the same reason. Holding this Dismember. I assume they're going to draw 2 with Archmage's Charm here. I just recently learned that there are versions of this deck that don't play Archmage's Charm, and that is wild to me. I feel like Archmage's Charm is like the perfect card for this deck, and I don't know why anybody would consider cutting it. They put the card on top. Okay. Yeah, still not going to Dismember yet. Really, we just want to hit Magus with this, if we can. What we would not like to see here is Blood Moon. That would be the worst. If we draw a land here, Dress Down doesn't stop the Dryad Valakut triggers, which is interesting to note. Do we Dismember here and give them the target? I have faith we're going to top deck this, we're going to top deck this land here, bounce land or otherwise, any ETB untap land, so I'm just going to go ahead and cast a Dismember, and if they want to interact with it, we'll just untap and kill them with Titan, so that's just how it works. It's just what's going to happen. You can't fight what happens naturally, you know? They let it go, sure. Alright, land. There we go. That's what we like to see. That's what we came here for. Alright, I guess Dress Down does not allow us to search for lands if they cast it in response to Titan, so. Yeah, here's Dress Down. No? Subtlety, okay. I am not bothered by that. Are we putting this on the bottom? Kind of want to draw more lands, actually. I'm going to bottom it. We have 2 more Titans where that came from. So, we'd like to top deck Endurance to freely interact with their graveyard while they're stopping our Titans from resolving. There's really nothing that punishes us for doing this. And then drawing lands lets us get towards naturally having Valakuts, finding an amulet or something. I don't know. Shredder. Yes, but how are you going to deal with Primeval Titan? That's the question. Expressive iteration. Yes, our opponent, they're doing all the things that are good, but it won't matter. We're going to get Bojuka Bog and Valakut. We're going to exile their graveyard, and we're going to kill the Subtlety here. Subtlety and Ragavan. We're going to exile them because we're going to put the Bog on the stack first. Yep. I guess actually putting the Titan on the bottom is good too, so we can draw another Dryad. Do we chump? Nah, I guess we don't chump. 3 damage is not enough. The Wall of Grazer is not ready to come down yet. See if they have Dress Down. Oh, Valakut. Now that is a spicy one. Yeah, but we're just going to do the thing again. Bang. Titan, Titan, Titan. Dress Down. Yep. You got it. We will play the Valakut. They have to deal with the Titan, and we still have another Titan ready, so I guess they could potentially have an answer for this Titan and another Dress Down, and an answer for that Titan and the Dryad, and then they would be in the clear this game. We could still just die to flying beats, but or they could have a Murktide here, and that would be kind of annoying. If we get to attack with this Titan, we're going to search for Bog and Valakut, I think. Actually, maybe getting Valakut's kind of useless here. Maybe it's Bog and Cavern naming Nymph or something like that. Or even Radiant Fountain, actually, is not bad. Maybe Bog Radiant Fountain is the best way to go, since we already naturally drew a Valakut. That way we can set up some Valakut triggers, interact with the board, gain a little bit of life to try to stabilize against flying beats if our Valakut shenanigans don't work. Exile their graveyard so they can't Murktide or Unholy Heat us. Iteration. It's probably good for them. I don't know why they tap both of their Spire Bluffs. I guess they're trying to hit Magus or Blood Moon. Exile Delta, play it, crack it for an island. Yeah, they definitely have Blood Moon in their deck. Hopefully they don't have it in their hand right now. They do have it in their hand right now. Well, they're not dealing with Titans, so we're going to get some basic lands. I don't know if they can attack here. We have to attack with this Titan. We don't really have a choice about it. Yeah, the Blood Moon's kind of annoying. We could still top deck one of our Boseijus. We did bring in the other two. Yep. Oh, they're attacking? That's bold. We'll go ahead and block with one of these guys, I think. I'm pretty surprised they're attacking here, actually. Wonder if they have another Dress Down? Now we can't rely on our Titan actually resolving. I do think it was right to bottom the Titan when they subtletied it. Sadly, we couldn't get our Titan to stick long enough. We are about to swing all out, by the way. Dryad and Titan are both getting in. And they'll probably chump with the Ragavan on the Dryad. Take 6. And then, I don't know what happens after that. Oh, Fury to kill Dryad, I guess? Yep. Radiant Fountain doesn't do anything. I mean, we are attacking. We don't have any choice but to attack here, because we got to set up our basic lands, so there's that. Are we supposed to pack for endurance? It seems a little ridiculous. No, I guess not. They could have a Murktide, and that would be bad for us, but they probably would have played it last turn if they had it, so just hope they don't draw it. This way we can cast Titan this upcoming turn and force them to counter it. We still might be losing this game. Hard to tell. Although, if they have Unholy Heat for the Titan, we can pack for Endurance in response, and then free cast it. Iteration. That's probably good for us, I think. No. I don't know. Can't tell. At any point that we just top deck Boseiju, we probably win on the spot as well. They exile a Heat. Man, one more turn. We would have had some untapped force we could pack for an untapped endurance. Yeah, I mean, they're thinking that if they go for the Heat on the Grazer, then they have lethal if they loot away a spell with Ledger Shredder. Interesting. We'll let them loot, force them to have the spell first, and then we'll probably pack for Endurance, cast it, and they have to have exactly Counterspell. And they discard Counterspell? No freaking way. That was a huge punt. Oh, they have another Counterspell. Okay. That's still had all these. Well, you know, it's whatever. That was close. Definitely could have won that game. Oh, we still got another game after this. Cool. Well, they have Blood Moons. Does that mean we want forces? Probably. Maybe not a whole bunch, but just a couple. Trim the remaining Saga, as it's kind of useless here. It also makes Reclaimer's stock go way up because they can fetch basic Forest, so that's good. I'm not as big a fan of Radiant. I mean, maybe we need it against their Flying Beaters, but Dismember is looking pretty bad since they seemingly don't have mages, so it's probably better this way. Do we want the Force? I don't think so. Guess we'll try one Cultivator just to see. I know that Monites and Pumpkin Wine like having Cultivator in this matchup because we're just trying to cavern through some big green spell. I don't know that I agree that Cultivator is even good here, though. I mean, we'll keep this. We have double basic to play around Blood Moon. Of course, if we Vesuva basic Forest on turn 2, or, you know, before they get Blood Moon down, then it'll be a basic. We also have double Amulet for tons of ramp. We have Bounce Land to go with. We have Boseijus to answer things. So, I guess our best draw is a 3-drop. Titan's a pretty good draw. Not gonna lie. Titan does work here. I'm gonna play the Amulet into Spell Pierce. They don't have it. I'm gonna play Vesuva Copy Force, I guess, and pass back. I'm really glad they didn't have a 1-drop here either. Let's see if they play a Ledger Shredder on turn 2, because if they do, we just have lethal, so. Although, I guess they could have Subtlety. I don't think I'm playing around it, though. Our opponent's down to 6 minutes on clock. Well, we have 13. Well, I guess we're just forcing them to have Counterspell since we have backup Titan. Either you have it or you don't, opponent, and we are about to find out which. And we're going to pick up the Gruul Turf here, I guess? Show me the counterspell. Oh, they have it. Rough. See if they tap out here, expecting us not to have another Titan. Nope. Well, we're not just losing the counterspell here, so we'll place on home and pass. Slipping away, it feels like. And we're completely naked here with nothing to block. That does bother me quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie. Anytime our opponent gets a Ragavan in play, we're gonna be immediately very losing. See if they Archmage's Charm to draw here. That would be interesting. They do. Interesting. I don't know if that means we should play a Titan into another counterspell. Because they have 4 counterspells, like 2 or 3 charms, and maybe like subtlety. I don't know, we'll see. If they were debating not casting this because they don't have another counterspell, and then they tap out here because they know they don't have another counterspell, expressive iteration. I'm fairly incentivized here, I think, to play into another counterspell. It won't be fantastic if they have Dress Down, but they exile Ledger Shredder. See if they cast it. Please cast it. And do not have subtlety, please. Again, we're not playing around it. In fact, there's no way to play around subtlety, so... Battery's running low. Love that. We'll fix that in 1 second. We'll pick up the... Vesuva, I guess. Play Titan. We do have... Do we have lethal here? Oh, they have the subtlety? Sad. Ugh. Okay. Well, we're still playing this game. Let me grab my charger real quick. We'll put Titan on top, obviously. Our opponent has 4 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, but unfortunately, I don't think that they're going to time out here. And I also think we're pretty unlikely to win here, so... We can Titan next turn off of Tolaria West, making 2 mana with double Amulet. So that's kind of exciting, but... I'm really glad they had to pitch to Subtlety instead of hard cast it, by the way. And in fact, they pitched a Murktide, which is actually pretty relevant here, so... The question is, do they have another way to interact on the stack? I don't know. They have land instant sorcery, so they're missing 1 type for Delirium, so they don't have Unholy Heat up. Oh, no, they have land instant sorcery creature because of the subtlety. I was thinking of it as a non-creature spell, but that is definitely a creature, so they do have Unholy Heat up. Which is tragic. If we have a Suva Gruul Turf, leave 2 floating, get double bounce land, we'll have 10 mana, which is enough to TOS and play a second creature. And haste both. So that does play around... That does play around Unholy Heat. They're tapping low over there. So, I mean, I'm playing into second counterspell for sure. Because I don't think this is getting better for us. Oh, they don't have counterspell up. What the heck? They have just Unholy Heat. Well, as I mentioned, we can play around Unholy Heat. I don't know that we can play around, I don't think that we can play around Spell Pierce, ironically, but, we'll pick up the Vesuva, I guess. Play Titan. We'll get Growth Chamber, another bounce land, and we'll transmute and cast a second Titan to play around Heat. Yeah, if they Heat here, yeah, we're fine. Do we have lethal, though? I don't know. We'll check it in a second. So Simic Sanctuary will help us haste. Since we have Vesuva in hand, we want to be careful about hasting here. I think we should be able to do what we need to. I haven't done the calculation, but so if we double haste, double strike our Titan, That'd be 20 minus the 4 is 16, so they are dead here. Pick up the Sanctuary, pick up the Simic, leaving basic in play, so if somehow we were not to have lethal here, it would be fine. Oh, we want to get Summoner's Pact here. We could go for Colossus, because we have Colossus in deck, I think. I'm kind of tempted, but I don't think it's the right play. There's a very small likelihood that out of 5 cards we find a Titan or Summoner's Pact. We have 3 packs, 2 Titans. Yeah, I can't go for the Colossus because we have actual lethal here, so I'm just going to go for the Titan. Yes. We have Red Source and Sanctuary in deck, so we're okay to double haste here. And opponent is dead. I was going to say this is what patience affords you, but we weren't really that patient at all. We kind of slammed Titan like multiple times. So I guess this is what slamming Titan multiple times affords you. Bang. Our opponent is dead. There's a nail biter this one, though. Swing. And grab any lands that make red and white mana, and we are good here. So, Valakut, Selesnya. Since we already have Sun Home in play, of course. So we can double strike, and we are good. Bang. Take lethal. We're even holding up Boseiju here. We got Blood Moon covered, y'all. Heck yeah. Alright, so we are 2-1 now. Just barely winning against Murktide. I don't know if I can consider that lucky or not. Because really, our opponent had the subtlety when they needed to, and the counterspell when they needed to, so it's like, I don't know if I would consider that lucky. This hand's pretty good, though. Are we leading on Reclaimer or Grazer? Putting Grazer into Saga out lets us get Amulet a turn earlier. So I feel like that's better. It's not guaranteed, but we're not going to get much value out of this Saga, but... Oh, no, not Neoform. Please, no. Oh, Living End. Well, Reclaimer will help us significantly against Living End, since we can get Bog at instant speed. So we just don't want to draw the Bog. I guess drawing the Bog actually is still okay here, but here's a Reclaimer. Growth Chamber, picking up the Forest. Pass to them. Yeah, this Reclaimer is about to win us the freaking game against Living End, which is amazing. There's no guarantee that this actually wins against Living End, by the way. It's very good. It gives us a chance, but we could transmute TUS. No, we can't transmute and play the Bog. Well, maybe now we can. I think we just let the Saga go and try not to get the land value here. We'll get Amulet. We can play Simic. Float double blue Dryad. And still be able to hold up Reclaimer. I don't know if we really want to do that, though. We kind of just want to play Forest and make land drop progress. If we play Dryad, if we play land Dryad TUS, and we'll be able to hold up Bog at instant speed. I guess it's probably fine. We'll play Dryad and TUS here. I mean, we're playing into Living End, but if our opponent goes for the Living End, then we'll Bog them. And they'll have to get their progress back, and we can play Bounce Land picking up the Bog, so... Definitely not attacking with a Reclaimer. That is not a thing that's happening. It might have been right to just go ahead and main phase Bog them there, but... It's whatever. Alright. We'll play Saga and Growth Chamber. And we'll transmute TUS for Summoner's Pact. I don't know why that escaped me for so long. That is what we're going to look for here. And we'll clock with Dryad. And if our opponent fetches here on instep, I might just go ahead and bog them now, so they can't do some tricky stuff. That might be a little hasty, because then they might just cycle some stuff on instep, untap, and then Shardless Agent into living in, which would be even worse for us. So probably just supposed to hold up this Reclaimer until the end of time. Or until they just go for the living end, I guess. We'll let this cascade happen. And in response to this one, I think we should do something here. So, get the bog. Bog them. And we have Titan next turn, so this is looking pretty good for us. I think we're supposed to just wait on Pact, even though they could potentially have Force. Yeah, we're going to force them to have Force. If they have the Force, then we might just lose to living end here. Although we'll have some blockers and a Dryad, so it's not the end of the world, but they do have the Force. All right, let's get this Valcut in play and hold up our Saga, I guess. When they do living in, we'll get Dryad back into play with Valcut, which will be very good for us. I don't know, maybe we should have Sanctuary to pick up the Bog, but I feel like it's very likely they already have a living end enabler in hand, so yeah, Grief doesn't do anything here, so that's fine. I guess it's an extra creature for their living end, but we are going to make a Saga token here. It probably doesn't matter, but in the case that they don't have Violent Outburst, it matters a little bit, so alright, they are going for the living ends. Not in response to the Saga trigger, by the way, which is kind of weird to me. Because this isn't our draw step anyways. So now we could, like, let this resolve, then do the Saga thing. Which is what we're going to do. But we get Reclaimer back. Which is kind of fantastic. And we even get to put a land into play and get a Valakut trigger here. Whew! Value. Yeah. Drawing land here is actually kind of good for us. I think they might just be dead. Let this go. We put in the breeding pool. Our Saga gets us a map, which we get Slayer's Stronghold, play, get a Valakut trigger, haste our Reclaimer. And then Reclaimer a land for Valakut for number 2 and kill them. It's the easiest way to do it. I think they might actually be dead here. Let's see. I think the token here doesn't matter, so I'm just going to float a white here. Get the map. Pay 2 map for... I guess we don't want to get Slayers here. We probably want to get fetch land, so we could fetch in response to them bouncing Dryad or something. And we do win. So we actually did win this game because of Reclaimering for Bog, which is great. Alright, we want Endurances, obviously. Grazer's okay. Cavern and Radiant don't really matter. Cultivator Colossus, we can, like, discard to kill them. So if they living in, we get back a Cultivator. I don't know if that's worth bringing in the second one for, but I'm going to try it, because I've always wanted to do that. I haven't gotten the chance. We'll trim Caverns. Actually, I think it's better to trim on Sagas, believe it or not, because of the fact that they have Foundation Breaker type things to interact with them, so. And then Maybe, I mean, Azus is not bad, but maybe it's just Grazer. I don't know. I think it's Grazer. Yeah, if we can play turn 1 land, turn 2 bounce land, pick up something, and on end of turn discard a threat, that'd be good. We naturally have Bog here, which is... it's something. Play Bog, play bounce land, pick up Bog, Reclaimer. Oh, wait. A Dryad into land Reclaimer? No. We have to play the Amulet. So yeah, it's going to be Bog, Amulet, land, Reclaimer. And we'll keep it, I guess. It's kind of awkward, but... if we can draw an untapped source to play Amulet or Reclaimer on one and not have to Bog, that'll be maybe a little bit better, so... it's whatever, though. Alright, that doesn't do it. Although, I guess we can play this one instead of the Bog so they don't know about it. Now a Grazer would let us play Dryad this upcoming turn. Map is interesting. Play Amulet. See if they have the interaction. They don't. I think we play Reclaimer here. Growth, pick up TUS, play Reclaimer map. If they living in... like, if they end up trying to make a thing living in, then we can Dryad and potentially race with Titan, so it's probably fine. We'll play the Reclaimer on the map. And we'll see what happens here. They could have Force. Oh, they're not even cycling here. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, now we have to play Bog this upcoming turn so we can Reclaimer for Vesuva to copy Bog at instant speed. Oh, they don't have the land. Okay, this is actually fantastic for us then. Foundation Breaker away, Amulet, that won't matter, so... yeah, this is actively great for us, because we get to exile their graveyard with the Natty Bog. Too good. And now we get to play Dryad into Bog, which I am definitely down for, so... I guess they could have Subtlety, but... they do have Subtlety. I don't know, maybe playing into Subtlety was bad. I mean, one of their last 2 cards has to be Living End. Guess we'll top the Dryad. Yeah, that's kind of rough. Yeah, I don't know. Dang. Ugh, had the perfect scenario to just Natty Bog them, and I guess I messed it up. I was thinking, like, what's the chance they have Subtlety in the Living End? I mean, this board doesn't kill us, though. Kill the map, though. Does kill the map. I wonder what's on top of our deck now, after they Architects. Oh, they gave us the Dryad, really. I mean, we're going to slam Dryad again. And I guess we're just going to Titan next turn. We'll play TUS. They could very well have Force or another Subtlety here, but... or hard cast Foundation Breaker. Dang. Yeah, their hand just lined up perfectly for us not playing out in the Natty Bog. That was too greedy. Sadly. Way too greedy. Ugh. Okay. I mean, yeah, well, there's nothing we can do here. We're just dead. We can't cast Titan since we don't have double green, so... that one really sucks. That one really sucks. We'll just try again. Maybe these cultivators are not better than just having more grazers. I don't know. They have the natural Bajuka Bog again. We can just go to discard on turn 2 and put a Titan or Colossus in our graveyard. Or no, we can do that on turn 2 by playing land into bounce land and picking it up, so we'll definitely keep this. We also have Natty Bog again. Very lucky. Question is, are we discarding the Colossus or the Titan? I feel like it's probably the Titan. Hold on a second. Let me think about this. So we play land, we're down to 6. We draw for turn up to 7, play bounce land down to 6, pick up land up to 7. We won't actually be able to discard. So I guess we actually are supposed to just pass here. If we were on the draw, we'd be able to play bounce land on turn 2 and still be able to discard. But since that's not the case, this is really bad if they have endurance, by the way, which they might have boarded in for specifically being able to get rid of our graveyard for living in purposes, but we'll go to discard, put, I guess, Colossus in the yard, because we're going to want to be able to ramp up to Titan if they do living in it back into play, so I don't know if that's better than putting Titan in the yard, but it also plays around Surgical, so there's no way they have... No, they can't have Surgical. Yeah, I don't know. I think putting the Colossus makes sense. And now we play our Reclaimer. Not playing around Magus in the Moon, but maybe should have by fetching for basic forest, but we'll see. I mean, Reclaimer also plays around a moon effect, since we can just, you know, fetch away something for a basic forest, so it's kind of whatever. Natural Bog gonna come in and destroy them again, hopefully. Please, by all means, cycle to find your 3rd land drop. Please. Okay. Are we just gonna go ahead and play the Bog now? Probably not. Guess we play Sunhome, so we can activate Reclaimer. What are we getting with Reclaimer here? I don't think we want the Sunhome. Are they thinking about cycling and living ending right now? That would be interesting. I guess it's just... I mean, Saga will die to Foundation Breaker, so we don't want to enable that. It could just be Garen Brig for a little bit of ramp. It's not the biggest deal. Maybe it's just Bounce Land. I kind of like the idea of Bounce Land, to be honest. Let's us play Dryad this upcoming turn, perhaps. Or we could just Bog them now. I guess it's just Dryad. I think it's Dryad. They can living in this away if they want to. We'll still have 4 lands to put into play with Colossus at least. Cycle, sure. Resolves. I'm actually going to go ahead and Bog them now, since 2 creatures feels like enough value. And we've gotten punished by not bogging them preemptively already, so let's just make this happen. And then when we do get our Cultivator back in play, we'll be able to Growth Chamber pick back up the Bog. It just goes through, sure. Not attacking into Subtlety, although they would have probably cast Subtlety if they had it, but still not worth risking. Breaker to kill Dryad, sure. Hey, so if we got Saga, we would have been playing into this one. Endurance! Yes! Yes, we love that. Alright, well, I guess I was going to play Bounce Land, but now that we can Endurance plus activate Reclaimer, I'm just going to play out the basic. I've not had this much fun playing against Living End. Of course, naturally drawing Bojuka Bog helps, but just in general, playing Elvish Reclaimer against Living End is so much more fun than playing Titan without Reclaimer against Living End. So, I guess we're not playing around a thing at this point. Are we casting Titan? I don't know. I feel like we can. Then we might have to pitch our other Titan Endurance, though, which I don't love. I'm just going to go for Saga now, since we can untap and immediately get a token out of it. And Grazer is interesting. We'll cast Grazer, I guess. Oh, maybe keeping the Grazer in hand as our extra card to pitch to Endurance would have been better, but it's whatever. Put in Growth Chamber. Pick up the Forest, I guess. Play Forest, and now we have Activate Saga plus Reclaimer held up. Of course, we can Reclaimer for Vesuva to copy Bog. I was initially going to pick up the Bog, but that would leave us cold to them cycling and then going for Living In, because we wouldn't have been able to hardcast Endurance either, so really no reason to go for that line. We'll go ahead and make our Saga token, since we're not at risk of getting Living Ended here. And, yeah. And I guess we're just gonna float here and get Amulet. Could get Map. I'm gonna get Amulet, though. I think Amulet's better. Are we going for the Titan? That's the question. We can do so while leaving up Endurance, but that doesn't really do anything. Excuse me. I think forcing them to Living In is probably a good choice. Although it gets rid of our Elvish Reclaimer layer of protection. I don't know. I think it's debatable, but I'm going to go for it. Subtlety. Sure. I guess we'll put that one on top. And we'll just pass, I guess. When they attack, we'll block with Grazer, since they're going to have to Living In our board at some point in time. Don't think we're going for a Reclaimer activation just yet. I think we're supposed to Titan here. They could bounce our Reclaimer before they Living In. I mean, they don't have anything to bring back anyways, but yeah, we're just going to play Titan. Trying to get more lands into play is where we want to be at this point. If this resolves, guess we're getting Bounce Land and Saga. Not, well, maybe going for the haste is worth it. Or maybe putting a Valcut in play for a Dryad is a good idea as well. So that when they Living In, they'll be giving us Colossus plus Dryad, which could be quite scary. Force hitting the Amulet and the token, that doesn't matter at all, so I guess that's good for us. They pitched Charlotte's Agent too, so they must have Living In enablers here, but no cyclers, or they haven't cycled yet. Yeah, I think Valcut's definitely one of them. And then a Bounce In, I guess, for Cultivator purposes. We win the match. Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, well, we're now 3-1. Whew. Actually, winning against Living In is not something that I have done with Amulet for a long time, and of course, it's when we play freaking Elvish Reclaimer in our deck that enables it, so that's one of the reasons to play Reclaimer, in my opinion, is to improve the Living In matchup and give us an additional tool against, like, control decks and stuff, but anyways. We actually could have pretty easily 2-0'd them if we had played the Bog instead of getting greedy and playing Dryad first in game 2. We almost 2-0'd Livingen, but in 3 games we still got it, so... I'm just saying, if you want the deck to beat Livingen, this is the one. Also, for what it's worth, I've kind of moved away from Relic of Progenitus in Amulet for partially the reason that against Livingen, Relic exiles your own graveyard, and I found that to be really detrimental when trying to play against them, because a lot of times you want to threaten with what you're about to bring back from the living end, but exiling your own graveyard is actively horrible, so... This hand is not fantastic. If it had an untapped green source, like if this Bog was a basic force, I'd definitely keep it, but I think we mulligan this. Yeah, this hand's better. Again, Reclaimer's hopefully setting up our bounce land here, so... I think we bottom the redundant Grazer. Here's Grazer into Valakut. If we draw 3-drop, then we can play it. Otherwise, we'll just be playing Reclaimer and a tap land, I guess. Spire Bluff Bridge. Interesting. Oh, double Reclaimer. Yeah, I guess we'll want to be able to activate 2 Reclaimers this upcoming... No, we won't be able to activate 2, but unless we draw an untapped source, but I am just going to play them out. Who's playing Affinity now? Look, I've already played 3 spells by turn 2. Got him. Springleaf Drum. Oh wait, we need to stop in our upkeep. Just in case we want to get Saga, which I think is a likelihood, so... Yeah, I think we want to get Saga and immediately tick it up, so let's do that. This way, when we go to our draw step, it'll go up to 2 counters, and it'll be almost as if it was in play last turn. Another Saga is actually a pretty fantastic draw. So let's us Reclaimer again. I don't know what we'd be sacrificing at this point, though. I guess Breeding Pool. We want to keep some green sources in play, though. And sacrificing Valakut's not really where we want to be, so... Thought Monitor, sure. We could put enough Saga into play. That would not be the worst thing. And then we can map for bounce land off the first Saga, and the second 2 Sagas get double Amulet, and we probably just kill them. Cranial Plating. Uh-huh. They do have Thought Monitor to, you know, hit us in the air, which is pretty unfortunate. Are we trading Reclaimer for the Midnight? Since we can chump the Thought Monitor, if we block with Reclaimer and get a second Saga instead of the Breeding Pool, a second Saga on 1, we get map. I guess we can map for Boseiju and use a Reclaimer to find the bounce land, and another Reclaimer for ramp. I guess it's probably fine to just block with the Grazer. It doesn't play around a second Cranial Plating, but I think mapping for Boseiju and using that to deal with the plating is better. We could always get our bounce land now with the Reclaimer. Maybe we don't need the second Valakut that much. I feel like with double Amulet coming, we probably don't. I'm going to get rid of the Valakut and get our bounce land right now. Yes, it's putting us back a land, technically, but I'm okay with this. And we don't need to do anything in upkeep. I mean, we could use this opportunity to set up a second Saga. But then we can't use... We can't map for Boseiju. I guess we can't do that anyways. I guess we're planning to take a hit from Thought Monitor. This is plus 10 right now. 12. We're in a bit of trouble here, actually. I think we just have to take a draw. Boros Garrison is probably about the worst draw we could get. We can play Bounce Land, Reclaimer for Boseiju in response to the trigger, and potentially still hit the plating, so I guess we're supposed to get Amulet here. I think we're supposed to get Amulet. Yeah. And then we'll have Simic plus Amulet next turn. So we're supposed to Reclaimer, leaving green floating, sacrificing the breeding pool to get Boseiju, and then pick up the Boseiju to the bounce land. And Boseiju to kill the plating, I guess? That's the thing that's most immediately killing us. And then next turn we'll just Titan and presumably kill them. No reason to activate Reclaimer here, I don't think, so yeah, we'll just pass. We should probably have enough mana to kill them this upcoming turn. Leaving lands in play is going to be pretty difficult, but... Oh, they have another plating! No! That's the worst possible case scenario. We can't block it either, thanks to the Ginger Brute. They had to have another plating. 12, 16, 18. Yeah, there's no way for us to win. They had to have freaking second plating. That is some BS. Oh, man. Well, against them, we want Forces, obviously. And Grazer, obviously. And Boseijus. Being able to naturally draw one of those is going to be nice. Explosives is good against tokens, Mimnites, and that kind of thing. And it can sweep up platings eventually, but I don't know how much I love it for that purpose, but still. Don't need Cultivator. One Reclaimer is probably enough against them. Bog does nothing. Cavern is good against specifically not Dispute, Rebuke, Metallic Rebuke. Trim an Azusa. Actually, I think we just trim both Azusas because the ramp by itself is not necessarily enough to win against them. We kind of need the Valka triggers. We kind of want the other Cavern, too. I think we trim a Garen Brig for Cavern to play through Rebuke. Saga's good. They're probably not going to interact with it. Summoner's Pact is good. I think Breeding Pool's not worth it. Maybe Map? Maybe it's just Garen Brig. We'll cut the other Garen Brig. Alright, we'll be on the play. We get turn 1 Reclaimer off of Boseiju, and then we get to pick it up, so we'll keep it. Welding Jar. Well, that kind of invalidates our Boseiju, doesn't it? Well, now we can just set up a Saga, I guess. Which I guess is what I'm going to do. End of turn, we'll sacrifice this, get a Saga, and it'll immediately tick up to 2 during our turn. We'll need an untapped source to play Dryad, but it's probably okay. Playing Dryad might have been playing into Metallic Rebuke anyways, so... They've got a board. That's a lot of Frogmites. Play one more, play one more. Alright, we're definitely going to set up Saga here. We could set up second Saga even, just like be off the Boseiju plan in our upkeep. We'll have double Amulet a turn from now. Might be enough to win, especially since we can potentially reclaim her for a bounce land. We get second Saga, tick them both up, play T-West. Next turn we'll float for both of them. Play Dryad, play Sanctuary twice for 8 mana, reclaimer it away into a Simic for down to 6 up to 10. Transmute Titan with double Amulet. Yeah, I mean, this is a turn 3 kill if we do this. And our opponent doesn't kill both of our Sagas. I'm going for it. Let's hope they don't have a force or something like that. This does kill them next turn, so... And we can transmute for Titan thanks to the T-West, so... I don't know if this plays... It doesn't play through Rebuke, but... I mean, we're kind of getting clocked here, so... I think our opponent's just dead, so... Nice. We'll float here. Get Amulet. Get second Amulet. Oh, Grazer's kind of interesting here, too. So we'll play Sanctuary. Play Dryad. Play Sanctuary. I think we can leave the T-West in play. Play Dryad. Play Sanctuary again. And pick up Sanctuary. We'll Grazer out T West, I guess. Sacrifice Sanctuary to get Bounce Land in response to... And then sacrifice the Bounce Land to get Simic. Pick up the T West, Transmute Titan. It's probably good. What a convoluted freaking turn here, but we're getting there. Oh, and this does play through Rebuke, actually, because we drew the Grazer. Oh, man. That was a freaking awesome game. That shows the power of Reclaimer right there. Do we want Azusa or not? I don't know. I'm kind of okay with this. I still think we only want 3 Reclaimers. I mean, they're never going to kill them, but... it's probably still good. I'll just run it back. Because I also think that only 1 Reclaimer is enough. We don't want to get flooded on Reclaimers. The power of Reclaimering in the upkeep. Which I haven't done this whole league yet, but it was actually relevant here, so... and this hand's quite good. We'll keep. One thing that's worth noting is that Grazering in a Crumbling Vestige to be able to play a Reclaimer or Amulet on one is quite good. So it could be reasonable to play more copies of Vestige. We play turn 1 Reclaimer, turn 2 Amulet, Forest, Grazer, and Bounce Land. Just get a Saga, pick up the Bounce Land. I think we're supposed to play turn 1 Reclaimer here. Although we might get our Amulet rebuked if we're not careful. I think activating Reclaimer sooner rather than later for Saga is going to be our main route to victory here, though. So I'm going to play turn 1 Reclaimer. I'd be surprised if our opponent holds up Rebuke this turn right here. It's not impossible, but... oh, they are holding up Rebuke. Huh. I guess maybe we're not casting the Amulet then? Just play Forest, pass, and then Reclaimer for Saga. We might have another situation where we're just, like, casting a bunch of stuff all in one turn. Don't currently have a Titan yet. So we'll have to be thinking about setting up T-West somehow. I think we're just gonna play Forest and set up Saga, so... because they're clearly holding up Rebuke here. Or Artifact land cycling, of course. Why did I not see that this is why they held up their 2 mana? Darksteel Citadel. They're on a bit of a slower hand here. It seems to me like they're probably relying on Rebuke here. I bet they get Pithing Needle for Reclaimer here. I think by the time that they can do that, it won't matter, though. Definitely set up the first Saga. And our upkeep will have to decide if we want another Saga or not. I feel like we probably do. And now we can play Cavern Naming Giant. And we drew the Titan. That's perfect. Alright, now we can play Cavern Naming Giant, play Amulet, and if they rebuke it, we actually don't care. And just cast Titan next turn. Nice. Rebuke it, please. With double Grazer here and triple Amulet, I'm thinking that we'll most likely be able to kill our opponent. We'll be able to cast a Titan that'll set up another Titan, that'll set up another Titan, and then we'll haste all 3 of them and double strike all 3 of them, and our opponent will be very dead. They get Springleaf Drum with the Saga. Is that what it was? Thought Monitor. Yeah. Yeah, I think our opponent's just dead. Taking 10, that's fine. We're just taking 10, that's fine. Cool. Alright. Not doing anything upkeep. We'll float here. Oh, we drew the 4th amulet? What is this? Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and get an amulet for now. And I guess we'll Reclaimer away the Saga in response to trigger, because there's really no reason not to. Get Simic. Not yielded, so that's fine. And we'll float an Uncounterable with the Cavern on Giant and pick it up. Now we'll get 3rd amulet. And play 4th. Actually, cancel. Do we want to play Sunhome here? Because we'll probably need to Vesuva to copy it. Yeah, I think we have to play... Oh, we can put it in with Grazer, though. We'll play the amulet, I think. Using the blue there might have been a mistake, but it doesn't really matter. All right, we'll play Grazer, so that if they have a Rebuke, they just use it now. They don't. Cool. Put in Sanctuary, and then the next one, I guess we can just play Sunhome. I think you're dead, opponent. I don't know if there's anything super special we can do with quadruple amulet, but I'm just going to do the thing that I know how to do, which is just put a whole lot of Primeval Titans in play and kill them with Primeval Titans. So we'll play our Giant here. They don't concede to this. I'm a little surprised. All right, let's get T-West and Simic. We'll pact for another Titan and cast that one. I don't think I've ever done this with 4 amulets in play, to be completely honest. I just don't think I've done it before. We might be able to Sunhome to double strike these guys preemptively, even. We probably have the mana to do that. We also have a land drop still remaining, it looks like. So I guess we'll play Cavern just to make sure that this other Giant is resolving. Yes. And, I guess there's no reason to put another Titan into play, necessarily. Because that might just play into them having a hard counterspell of some sort. I don't see what they could have. We could pay for Rebuke. Nah, I'm just going to put a 3rd Titan in. Can't stop me. We have another Summoner's Pact anyways, so we Gucci. And we'll get, I guess... Oh, we don't have another white source. We're going to have to Vesuva our Sanctuary at some point. Oh, we have Sanctuary, actually. We'll get T-West Sanctuary. Thinking about the most optimal lands to get here is almost a waste of time, I dare say. I guess if they could have countered anything, they would have countered the Pact, so... Alright, last Titan. We could even go for Colossus, but that's just a huge waste in my opinion, so... We'll get Boros and Slayers. And we'll use some additional red to do some double striking here. Oh, I stacked the triggers all wrong because I was thinking about... Oh my gosh, I'm a freaking idiot. That's stupid. Okay, well... Luckily, our opponent is kind and scoops it up there, but it's whatever. Anyway, so we ended up 4-1. What was our loss to? I don't actually recall. I don't know. It's been a long day. I played all these matches all at once. I usually don't do that, so... All I can say is, Reclaimer's busted. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that Reclaimer is better than the current version of Amulet, but if you're ever looking to just have some fun and do some powerful, dumb stuff, then Elvish Reclaimer is definitely the choice for you. It vastly improved our matchup against Living End, and in matchups where your opponent's not interacting with Reclaimer at all, like the Affinity deck that we just played against, just getting double Saga, one on your opponent's instep, one in your upkeep, and just setting up to just Titan with double Amulet in literally 1 turn from now is just crazy powerful. Turn 3 Titan off of 0 Amulets, 0 Sagas in the opening hand just by playing a turn 1 Reclaimer. It's just insane to me. It's super fun. And if you're interested in more information about Elvish Reclaimer lists and the lines with Elvish Reclaimer, then you should check my video in the description below where I cover specifically Elvish Reclaimer and Amulet. It's one from the past, but it's still a good one. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I can't say there's much I would change about this list, and super fun. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Redface Menace, signing off.